This will be quiet today compared to the next one. The
calm before the storm.
The calm before the storm. Todd had to come back from wherever he was.
Yeah.
Fifth one.
Okay. No.
Getting letters at home. Telephone calls at home.
You're getting telephone calls too?
Yeah.
You still have is it 397-5731?
You have good memory. No, I don't even have that. Nope. No more landlines.
Okay.
1 minute
Sir?
warning. Where's the do not disturb on this?
I thought Julia was coming, or is she not coming to this one?
She just texted me she's not coming.
Are you on the board for
She made a message.
Hey, I didn't know that.
We'll take all that.
Give me this back. I told her she could do public speaking
She could, yeah.
if she wanted to swear in.
One day she will.
Don't we need another alternate?
That's right. She can serve as Julia.
Yeah.
We went around looking for places to rehab. So far,
Okay, the Municipal Planning Commission for April 13th, 2023 will now come to order. Mrs. Blankenhorn, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Starr.
Here.
Mr. Zick.
Here.
Mr. Hawkins.
Here.
Mr. Swallow.
Here.
Mrs. Werga. Mr. Deal. We do have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Okay, just one of the things before we get started, this is, I want to remind everyone here today, the purpose of the Municipal Planning Commission is to balance the public good with private property rights and interests. Also, the commission carries out all other powers and duties conferred upon it by the City of Mount Vernon's zoning ordinance or other city ordinances and the laws of the state of Ohio. This is a public meeting and the rules of decorum we follow. We are committed to the democratic process, individual rights of expression, robust debate, and tolerance for different viewpoints. The following general rules of civility are expected, including addressing others in a respectful manner. No insulting, personal attacks, intimidating, or offensive communications. No harassment, no willful destruction of damage of property, and no disruptive behavior. Please silence all your cell phones and other electronic devices and refrain from private conversations during the meeting. If you need to come and go throughout the meeting, please do so in a least disruptive manner. If you are offering any public comment today, you must first be sworn in by reading the statement at the lectern. And again, the purpose of this commission is to oversee that the law is followed and planning occurs within which the spirit of those laws and regulations have been adopted by the City of Mount Vernon and the state of Ohio. So, Mrs. Blankenhorn, as I silence my cell phone, would you please read the item and we'll get this underway.
We need to do minutes approval first.
Sorry, thank you very much. Commission, in your packets were the minutes from the previous Municipal Planning Commission. Were there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. Thank you, Mrs. Blankenhorn. Okay, ready for the item for today.
2023 MPC 07, 301 and 303 North Norton Street, parcels number 66-05-329.000 and 66-02335.000 zoning amendment.
Thank you. Is anyone who wishes to speak on this? Mr. Filkins, if you would swear in, well, the floor will be yours.
My name is Sam Filkins, and my address is 931 East High Street, and I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God, or under penalty of perjury.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for considering this application. I really appreciate it. We are requesting a zoning change from R1 to planned commercial development, which is PCDD. That is the zoning designation for the former Siemens Cooper site right across the street of Burgess Street. So it touches PCDD to the south. I think it's important, you have a lot of materials in front of you about the impact to the traffic and the neighborhood and those kind of things. But this is one step of a couple to get this project up and running, and I think it's important to really set the bar of where we're hoping to go, because the zoning change is just one piece of it. So we are hoping to work with the Area Agency on Aging. Nicole is here in case you have questions on that piece, to build a 2 4-unit affordable senior housing facilities on those sites, on those 2 parcels. So that is a great need in our community. We have, if you look at population estimates and growth estimates, the fastest growing population over the next few years in the city is folks that are 65 and older. So our need for senior housing is going to only get greater, and our need for affordable senior housing for folks who are on fixed incomes is also great. We hope that this will become a pilot program. I look to Nicole and say that I hope that we can do many more of these, but they will also look like residential housing. They'll be single floor, age-in-place housing that will be wide enough doorways for wheelchairs if people need those down the road, so that folks can stay in their neighborhood for longer periods of time. We've talked about how we have a housing shortage, and we have folks that are overhoused. We also have folks that are paying way too much for their housing. So they are in fixed income and paying about 50% of their income towards housing, which is not affordable. And so we need more projects like this to help fill that gap.
What is the proper, or the not 50%, but what is the percentage of the income that should go to
So 30 or 35%.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's general, but is that the same for seniors? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
And then when we're looking at this project in particular, the folks over at Station Break did a local survey and found that 74% of the folks did not believe that there was enough senior housing in the community, and that 88% of them would like to see more options. So we are responding to a need that we know will be in the future, but it's also a need today. The important thing from a zoning perspective is that this is a bridge property between the industrial site at Heartland Commerce Park and the residential on the other side. By doing this sort of lower density but still multifamily in between, we'll be able to be a bridge property, so that this is not a property that probably was going to ever have a nice single family home built on it. This project is creating a bridge to create some neighborhood stability in that area. One of the great things for the neighbors to know is that the property will be maintained by Area Agency on Aging. Well, not Nicole, I don't think, but maybe. But it will be maintained so that it'll always look nice. It'll be an add to the neighborhood, and the seniors who will be there will receive wraparound services. So this isn't just a housing option; it's a community option, and I think that it's going to be really good for that too. We also have Dan from Appleseed to talk about, if you want to talk about what it looks like. So we have the whole bench here if you have questions. But
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Filkins at this point?
Yeah, I do. So
Sure.
You had mentioned that the hope is that you do more of these. Would the plan be to do them around the Heartland Park, or just around the community? Or
we need it in all the communities.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Vernon seemed to be a great place to start, but all the villages also need these types of housing. What we want to do is create these more neighborhood-based ones, so that people don't have to move out of their community. One of the things that the seniors at Station Break said was most important is to live where they grew up. and live around their family and friends that they know. So hopefully by doing ones in other areas, I'm speaking for Nicole again, so she might be able to better answer that. But
Okay.
our hope from the land bank's perspective is that we'll spread it around.
Okay, so ultimately, I guess what I was getting at was you're not going to like kind of create a perimeter. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I didn't know
That's
if
not
that was the plan. But
That's not the intent, no.
okay, all right.
Are there only these 2 units, or do you have other properties in this particular spot that you might expand this program to?
We do not have any that we currently own that we would expand to.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Filkins. Nicole, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about this? And we'll have you swear in there.
Okay. My name's Nicole Williams. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Area Agency on Aging. I live at 1136 East Bank Street in Ashland, Ohio. I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God, or under penalty of perjury.
Welcome.
So, thank you. We are excited about this. We did receive $200,000 to start the project through the commissioners, so we're very excited about that. That's the first step for us to gather funding. We've done something similar. We're just about ready to be completed in Mansfield, Ohio, a similar project, 12 units, where we received property from the land bank, and then we had many sources of funding. So we received funding from their foundation. The city had some home funds available, and then we were able to also have a second mortgage on the property, or a mortgage. And so we know that we can be successful with the project. Housing is definitely something that's needed in all communities. One thing that you see right now is that seniors want a better property. They've aged in their home. They want to continue to age in place, but there's stairs. You know, the washer and dryer are downstairs. There's multi-levels. But that's where they want to be. And so if we give them the ability to move somewhere that is more friendlier to them, then that home also opens up as a starter home for someone else. And so what we're seeing is there's not a lot of starter homes for new families. And so by having senior housing, it also helps other generations as well. We will have supportive services, like Sam said. So what that looks like is a certified community health worker that comes on site once a week and helps with all social determinants. And so all those things that surround someone that might impact their ability to live where they're at. So they might have issues paying a certain bill, or they need to find food, or any of those things that surround a person that we can help with. And we know that it's successful because we use Chat Hub, who is also your community health hub here in Knox County, who has software and it's research based. And so we don't think we're helping someone, you either do or you don't. And then all of our supportive services that wrap around that person as well, in terms of, you know, if there's some sort of home services, cleaning, care, meals being delivered, that sort of thing. So it really would be a great environment for someone to move in and have everything that they need in terms of help. We will be maintaining it, which we believe is important. We see some developments go up, and I'm sure maybe you've seen them in the past, where they fly in, they build, and then they leave, and they don't look so great later on in life. So this will be our property. We will manage it. We will ensure that it's taken care of. And again, our plan is to continue to build as funds become available. You know, it just has to be the right mix. We hope to go after some gap funding through OFA for this project as well. So, I mean, we're definitely committed to this project. But the first step is to understand that what we believe can happen on the property will be allowed to happen. And then we brought in Dan from Appleseed just at the beginning piece of it to understand that the land is tested and, you know, is okay to be built on. That when the land bank demos the house that's currently on the property, that it's done correctly. Not saying that it wouldn't be, but we want to make sure we're doing our due diligence. Then for the project, as we begin, we will bid it out. So we will look for local bids, as well as, you know, Dan from Appleseed or anyone else that would like to bid on the job. So that would be, you know, towards the end.
Any questions for Ms. Williams?
They'll pay just rent but not utilities, right?
Yes, correct. The utilities will be in the rent, and it will be considered affordable.
Will it be government subsidized? Is that
So OFA has some gap funding that's available for certain census tracts, and all that would mean is that instead of getting a 8% mortgage, we would get a 2% or somewhere around there, much better, and then it could be forgiven after a certain amount of years. We're not looking for a tax credit at this time.
okay? So you're getting some money from the commissioners, but then like ongoing funding. I mean, how is it?
So we start our process of finding the funding. So we will have some funding of our own. Our foundation will support us. We will get a mortgage, but our goal is to continue to solicit some other funds that might be available.
Okay.
The commissioners, I think, did a great job of, starting us and allowing us to show that we have support. And our goal is then to kind of have a braided type of funding. So if anyone at the city has some additional funds, we would always entertain that.
Well, but this would qualify for the infill lot CRA process, so it would
They
qualify.
don't pay property tax.
What's that?
They don't pay property tax.
They don't pay property tax anyway. Okay.
Well,
Never mind.
Well, I appreciate the thought, though.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And the
But
other
the
funding,
folks are paying some rent.
they will.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
and does the rent generally cover the mortgage that you guys have? Is that kind of the goal that they kind of match, or?
So we do a pro forma, and it will cover the mortgage. It will cover maintenance and ongoing. It will cover the service coordinator, the person that we'll have on site, and then the goal is that those additional funds will allow us to have some additional money to continue to build. But by no means is it we're raking in the dollars.
Will the rent be like below market value to encourage seniors, and then is there I assume there's some sort of application process to for to qualify? Okay.
Yeah, and we'll partner with someone. For Richland County, we're looking at partnering with their metro to kind of understand the application process and make sure that we learn all the rules and regulations, because that is our first, and we hope to lease up sometime in June. But there'll be an application and understanding how we determine who gets selected.
Great, thank you. That's all I have.
And the nice thing about the rent is, even if the rent still seems a little bit high, because seniors are on a fixed budget, we have all those other programs that kind of wrap around them. So even like one-time purchases. So if you ever hear someone, reach out to us, we can buy like a mattress, a washer, a fridge, a recliner. So those kind of things that hit your budget that you weren't expecting. We can help with utility costs. For Knox County, we have the Utility Assistance Plus grant. So usually that falls under the Community Action Group, but they didn't pick it up. And so we did, because we didn't want $150,000 not to go to Knox County. And so that's for all ages. So if you hear anyone that needs help with paying their homeowner's insurance, their cable bill, their Wi-Fi, and anything that surrounds the home in terms of fees, we could help with that. So we try to go after other sources as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Nicole? Okay.
I'd like to speak.
Yeah, come on up, Mr.
So I'm Doug McLarnon, and my name is Doug McLarnon. My address is 11367 Kenyon Road, Mount Vernon. I affirm that my testimony is truthful to the best of my knowledge and ability to, so help me God, under penalty of perjury. Well, that's pretty puts you on the spot, doesn't it? I'm here because I was a past president of the area agency, and I'm here to kind of give you the assurance that this is one of the top nonprofit agencies in Ohio. It's very experienced. It's getting into the housing because it sees that as a very important part. Second, it struck me, and I just talked to Sam, is that my father, Doc McLarnon, who was on this council and was president of the council, grew up in the second story of their building, the building down there.
It's the old store.
The old store on the corner. So he was in this neighborhood back in 1913 when I think he moved there about 14 or 15 when after he was born out in Green Valley. However, the area agency is like having if you're a senior, having another family. If you have family, that's great, but a lot of our older folks don't have that family. And this is an agency that fills in around the services that they can provide. They're very experienced in contracts. I think we have about 130 employees right now.
Yeah, 130.
And how many contracts? About over 200 contracts of just a whole bunch of social services kind of things that they manage and juggle. It is very professionally run. This is part of their mission. The foundation was created a number of years ago. Our advice was that we needed a way to fill out those things that like you can't get in government contracts, grants, and things like that. So the foundation has been very successful. Built Hawkins Corner, which I think was $3 million to do that, raised the money to do that, and has been very successful in managing that. And now they're moving. I think there's some other housing partnerships, not directly as building things, but the Ritter Run has presented some real challenges for Nicole. And I bet she tossed and turned a little bit when some things didn't go as expected. But they preserve, so if there's going to be a problem, I'm very confident that they will handle this. This neighborhood is a neighborhood that I worked in a lot as a children's services social worker. I don't know what the population looks like right now. I commonly go through there as I ride my bike through that area, Madison Street, off over to Tilden Avenue and out to Green Valley. So I see the neighborhood, I kind of see what's going on, and this is going to be an improvement. Hopefully there'll be other areas in this neighborhood that these kind of things in the future, this kind of housing can be done, whether it's area agency, Sam working in it, and some other place. The housing is probably the number 2 issue for me in this community, the whole community of Knox County, that has concerned me for a number of years. And I've talked to your predecessors about this, and it's nice to see that you're making some progress on this. And I hope this zoning will go through. I hope they possibly don't have any more rescue funds available.
We'll see.
If something happens to slop out of the bucket, maybe they could help on this and make it a really more broad-based, gets another stool, a leg of the stool underneath it, if there is some funding that the city of Mount Vernon can do. So I appreciate your time, and do you have any questions for me?
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Did you want to come up and talk a little bit about what this looks like? Or?
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt, but we will see this again if the zoning gets approved,
Okay.
because they will have to come back with their comprehensive development plan.
So we don't need a description right now then.
I'm just here to answer questions. If you
Okay.
have any questions, then I'll.
Does anybody have any questions? No. Okay, I think we're in good shape here, so. Okay, let's see. Is anybody speaking either for or against or in general for this project? Okay, I think we've heard everything. I was just looking at our substitute over there. Mrs. Blankenhorn, were there any communications received either through phone or in writing?
I did not receive anything.
Mr. Ball, do you have any engineering concerns with regard to this?
No concerns. The site has access to all city utilities, water, wastewater, stormwater, in ample amounts. So,
Okay.
good site for it.
When we get to the site, then that will be the time when we will need to check with shade tree and beautification for anything that would necessarily need to be then addressed. Then, Mr. Braun, do you have any legal concerns regarding this project?
No, I do not.
Okay. Then, with hearing all of the input at this point, I guess the chair will entertain a motion to accept this proposal.
This motion will be a recommendation to city council.
Thank you. This will be a recommendation to city council change the zoning to PCDD.
I would, if I could talk, I would move that we proceed with this.
It's been motioned that we proceed with this recommendation. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been motioned and second. Any discussion?
You want me to go through the whole thing now that I can talk? We proceed with the motion to change the classification of parcels 6605329-000 and 6602335.000 to change them from R1 to R3 to PCDD.
Any other discussion?
Was there a second?
Well, I think there was
I missed that.
Second.
Rick-
Okay,
Rick
thank you.
seconded, yeah. Any discussion then? Any more other discussion on the matter?
Lacey, do you agree this is the best zoning for what they're doing?
Yes, we discussed this at length on multiple occasions, tossing around different ideas of what zoning would fit best. And to avoid spot zoning, we've landed on PCDD versus R3 or any other options available to us.
Okay.
Very good.
Anything else before I call the vote? Will you call the vote, please?
Mayor Starr.
Yes.
Mr. Zick.
Yes.
Mr. Hawkins.
Yes.
Mr. Swallow.
Yes.
It has
Motion
changed.
passes.
Another recommendation to council.
Approved for
You got another,
construction.
you got
so
another
get to
step,
say.
yeah.
Several.
Get a rope on it.
Yeah, there we go. Is there any other business before this commission?
Just to let everyone know, we are planning 2 meetings in May. The special meeting on May 4th, and then the regular meeting on May 11th, the second Thursday.
And
So
the May 4th special meeting will be held at the Senior Center, which is 160 Howard Street, at the Senior Center there. So we're expecting quite a crowd. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, if anybody doesn't have any other orders of business, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Hey, Brian, you got a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Lacey.
let me go turn the others off.
I was glad that he asked that. I thought about why they landed on this classification. I was glad he asked that.
Actually, grab Rob if you can.